Geometry, Unit 6, which is Chapter 4 in the book, Section 2, Properties of Isosceles Triangles. So with an isosceles triangle, two sides are congruent, and they are called the legs. So here, this is a leg, and on this side, this is a leg. The non-congruent side is called the base. So that's this side. The angle between the legs, which is this angle, is called the vertex. And the other two angles, which are congruent, are called the base angles. So that is all the properties there. You got the vertex, the legs, the base angles, and the base. So let's use that knowledge here to see if we can solve some unknown angles. So we know this is the vertex because it's in between the congruent sides. Thus, these have to be the base angles, which means they have to be congruent. So that has to be 70. So now we find the vertex angle. They add up to 180 because all three angles of the triangle add up to 180. So 70 plus 70 is 140. 140 plus 40 is 180 degrees. Same sort of setup. So we know this is the vertex, again, because it's between the congruent sides. Thus, we know these two have to be congruent. So to solve for those, I'll call them x plus 50 is equal to 180. Subtract 50, divide by 2. Each of those angles has to be 65 degrees. Let's do a little bit more complicated problem here. We have here a linear pair. So they add up to 180. So 180 minus 132, and we get 48. We know this is the vertex, again, because it's in between the congruent sides, the legs. So these have to be the base angles, which means they're congruent, so that has to be 48. And then to find the vertex, we know all three angles of a triangle add up to 180. So 48 plus 48, that's 96. So this has to be, 96. So this has to be 84. Now add up to 180. Again, a little bit more complicated. Here, with just this triangle, this is the vertex. So it's between the two congruent sides. So we know that these two angles have to be congruent. They are the base angles. So 180 minus 30 is 150. Divide that by 2. And both of those are 75. Linear pair, thus they add up to 180. So that's 105. On this triangle, this is the vertex because it's in between the two congruent sides there. So we know these two are the base angles, so that got to be congruent. So 180 minus 105, 75. Divide that by 2. Divide that by 2, and we end up with 37.5. All right, so let's look at a word problem here. So we have a triangle ABC, it's isosceles, with A being the vertex angle. Since A is the vertex, we know these two sides are the legs, because the vertex is in between the congruent sides. If the length of AB is twice that of BC, so if AB is twice the size of BC, If the perimeter is 50, what's the length of each side? So 2x plus 2x plus x equals 50. So 5x equals 50. So x is 10. So plug that in. 20, 20, 10. And that's the length of each side. Let's do a little bit of review. Let's construct an isosceles triangle, where the short side is the base. So I'm going to start the same way. I'm just going to make a dot and make a straight line. Put that down a little bit. And since the short side's the base, I'm going to measure, get my compass equal to the length of the short side first. And we can see that's the length. Make that arc down here. So now that distance is the length of the base. Now let's find the length of these other sides. Oh, looks like I made my line a little too long. Let me shorten that. Longer than my compass can get, at least. That's that length. Now, given this is isosceles, I know it's going to intercept somewhere at the top there in the middle of the base. And there we go. There's my isosceles triangle. Now let's mark it as congruent. So there we go, isosceles triangle. One other thing to remember about isosceles triangles is the altitude drawn from the vertex. So if I draw the altitude down from the vertex, altitude intercepts the side at a 90-degree angle, but also with an isosceles triangle, that altitude also bisects that side. And that is the end of this lesson.